This time on That's Gotta Hurt. Extreme skiing, extreme pain. A ski racer tumbles over 800 feet.
I thought as I came upon him that I was going to ski up to a dead guy.
A woman's face is destroyed when a turkey flies through her windshield.
I couldn't even tell if it was male or female due to the serious facial trauma.
A man enters the emergency room with a headache. It doesn't take long for doctors to figure out the cause.
David shot a nail into an artery in his brain.
A little girl captures national attention when she gets impaled on an iron fence.
When I seen her stuck on the fence, I wanted to scream.
And a cameraman videotapes a drag race that turns into his own demolition derby.
I never saw it coming.
Now, these survivors relive their harrowing stories, and their doctors tell the real deal about the savvy and the science that helps save their lives on That's Gotta Hurt.
Put ALS on scene at this time.
Thanksgiving is the time of year when most Americans count their blessings. On Thanksgiving Day of 2004, Victoria Ruvalo was thankful simply to be alive.
Careful, no one. Did anyone here see what happened?
Just after midnight on November 13th in Ronkonkoma, New York, Victoria was driving back from a family event. She was just a block from her house when a group of teenagers approached in an oncoming car. They had just purchased a frozen turkey with a stolen credit card and were now preparing for the unthinkable. The frozen bird flew right through Victoria's windshield and struck her along with the shattered glass directly in the face. Within minutes, an emergency crew arrived to find an unconscious Victoria, bloodied beyond recognition.
All I saw was a person. I couldn't even tell if it was male or female due to the serious facial trauma.
But they could tell that Victoria was struggling to breathe.
She's got severe facial trauma. Looks like she's got compromised.
She was making gurgling sounds, probably fluids and blood in her lungs and stuff like that.
We could not get her airway secure due to the blood and the significant amounts of trauma, swelling, broken teeth. Her face was just destroyed.
Rescuers kept Victoria alive by suctioning the blood from her airway. But to assure her the best chance of survival, they needed to figure out exactly what had happened to her. To this point, it was a mystery.
The windshield was pushed in, which was kind of odd, and the steering wheel was bent towards the patient, which you normally don't find on a car accident. The windshields usually are pushed out. So we kind of figured something had come through the window, but at that time, we didn't know.
Rescuers brought in the jaws of life to help extricate Victoria from the car and finally learned what caused this terrible damage.
My partner, Ed, he jumped into the other side of the car, found the turkey, and says, I think this is what hit her in the face.
After they found the turkey, police began investigating.
Inside the vehicle in the rear seat happened to be a frozen turkey in a shopping bag. Inside the bag was a receipt for the actual turkey. It was recently purchased at a Warbounds a couple blocks away.
While police officers began their investigation, Victoria was hustled into a waiting ambulance, just 16 minutes from the time rescuers received the 911 call. She was rushed to Stony Brook University Medical Center.
Okay, what do we have? A female, approximately 40 years of age, followed motor vehicle accident.
When Victoria arrived, we knew that we were going to have to get the team mobilized immediately. Her eyes were swollen shut, so we couldn't even see them, and she had massive deformities of her face. Because of the concerns of a protection of her airway, we made a decision immediately to put a breathing tube down her throat as a life-saving measure.
Dr. Shapiro and his staff had to shore up Victoria's airway before anything else. So he immediately ordered an X-ray and CT scan to pinpoint why she was having such difficulty breathing. What he found was air in the soft tissues outside of her lungs and windpipe that had leaked out of her damaged trachea, like air escaping through holes in a straw.
And that explained to us why she was having so much difficulty with her oxygen levels. The air that was found in that area is very disturbing.
With Victoria now on assisted breathing, neurologists and maxillofacial specialists moved in to assess the damage to her horribly mangled face.
The bones of the face are in multiple fragments, and there's evidence of bleeding into the eye sockets on both sides. I also noted that her nose and palate had sunken in to her face to some degree and can actually be pulled out as one complex.
Victoria!
Despite the severity of her facial injuries, doctors decided to wait several days before operating.
Victoria, can you squeeze my hands?
Victoria would remain in a medically induced coma until the swelling in her face and brain could be reduced.
One of the additional reasons why we decided to delay the operation was immediately after an injury, there can be a lot of facial swelling which can obscure the natural landmarks of the face and prevent us from better approximating the bones back to their original position.
5 days after her arrival at Stony Brook, Victoria was finally in the OR, with surgeons hoping to restore her facial identity.
First of all, we have to put her teeth into the proper occlusion by wiring her teeth together. And we're able to fix the individual fractures. We do that by elevating the skin and muscle off of the bone, and we put small titanium plates across the fracture lines and secure them with tiny screws in order to allow the bone and the fractures to heal.
The entire surgery lasted 8 hours. When she finally regained consciousness 5 days after the crash, Victoria had no idea how much time had passed.
What I remember about that evening is I had woken up and there was no one in my room but me, and I got a shudder in my body, and I went, oh my God, something happened to someone in my family. And when I looked up in the mirror, I saw the tracheotomy in my throat. And I went, oh my God, it was me. It was me who got hurt. And the first thing that came to my head was, thank God it was me and not one of my sisters.
Victoria would spend 5 weeks in a hospital room, waiting and hoping for her old face to reappear. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, police had found Victoria's assailant. They went to the market where the turkey had been purchased and viewed the security tape. Soon they arrested a local teen and charged him with first-degree assault. The trial took place in August. By that time, Victoria's face had healed. She had surprised the medical world with her full recovery. But what Victoria did next would shock everyone. The teen faced up to 25 years in prison. Victoria asked the DA to reduce the sentence to the minimum, 6 months.
I wanted to move on and move forward. What would locking him up and throw away the key do? I just couldn't see how he would be able to learn from the mistakes that he did by just rotting away in jail. That wouldn't make me feel better, and that wouldn't make me move on. I just wanted to get back to life.
The DA's office and the court honored Victoria's wishes, and the teen pled guilty in exchange for the minimum 6-month sentence. Victoria still feels pain in her face, but she prefers to focus on the positive.
When I look in the mirror now, I still see what I saw before the incident. The only thing is I have a little scar on my chin where the tracheotomy was.
Happily, the incident with the turkey hasn't spoiled one of Victoria's favorite traditions.
I cooked a 20-pound turkey for Thanksgiving last year. And when I felt how heavy that was, I looked up to God and I said, thank you, God, because I could not believe that I actually lived through that.
Coming up next, an out-of-control race car sends a cameraman flying.